All right. Yeah, good morning, everyone. And so today we will be looking at some more React hooks. We've been working with React hooks for quite a while, and we are still on it. There are a couple of other hooks that we need to look at before we will say, "Oh, we've had enough of hooks." Um, so in the last class, we looked at building a color flipper, building a color flipper app, and we looked at it in two ways. One of them was the simple, yeah, the simple color and then the hex color. And then we looked at a way of doing all of this, managing views. We applied use states. We applied what again? So we applied use states. We also wrote some functions for the simple color changer. We used the short circuits and did we use short circuit? We use ternary operator to show the colors. We use, what again do we use
Hello,
here?
bro. Are you sharing your screen?
Okay, 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 okay. Sorry about that. Share screen. Share screen. All right. Okay. Yes, sorry. Sincere apologies for that. So the color flipper app that we built, we actually looked at. You guys can see my screen, right? Yes, we can go ahead.
We can see it now.
Yeah. So we looked at managing the tabs where we are not changing our routes. We're not going to a different page to show, but you're just displaying things on your screen. So you're using different tabs. You're switching between one view to the other view, still on the same page. So we use that. Then we also had the simple color and then the hex color. So the simple color and hex color, they're supposed to be used to manage the colors that we're going to show. And we had an array of colors, array of hex values, or yeah, alphabets between 0 to F, which form the hex values that we're going to use to generate our random colors. So we manage the colors using this style property having background, and based on the active tab, the active tab is simple. You're showing the simple color if it's so
Sorry, is it only me? We cannot hear
we
you, sir.
use
Your network.
we have like two views, or other than this, we have like multiple views. We'll have to like set up multiple area operators.
We were not hearing for a long while.
So we also had
I know,
to
sir.
show
We
the
can't hear
color
you.
based
Wow.
on, okay, the active tab. We're managing the active tab. So if it was simple, we'll show the active tab. Abi will add a class of active. It will have dynamic style if it was one going to last. You actually, okay. Sorry, sincere apologies. I don't know what is with network. Yeah, someone was asking, can you guys hear me? Yeah, can you get, okay, okay. Um, yeah, someone's asking a question before I dropped off. Has the question been attended to? You can ask now. Okay. I believe on that we sorry. Mhm. Okay. So you guys can see my screen now, right? Okay. Um, so we're able to alternate the class name. So when it's active tab and I'm checking if it is simple, if the text is, if the default value for the active tab is simple. If it's not if it's simple, show this one. If it's not, show this other one. So because this is the hex, this one is the hex link. So that's why I put the active tab on the second one instead of here. So we're able to use that. So set active tab to the hex. And then we're able to show this. Show the line underneath it. This line underneath. Then other than that, we now got to the background color. So you're able to show the color beside it. So if the active tab is simple, you show simple color, the simple color value. Else, if it is hex value, you show this other one. Then for the buttons, we alternated the buttons. So we said if it is, so this was where we used short circuit actually. So if the active tab is not equals to simple, we are showing this one for the hex color. If it is simple, we show this other one. And then we passed in functions. So you see different functions for each button now. So for this first button, we have this hex, change hex color, which shows which is this, where we were able to we set our color to an initial value of hash. And then you add up because it's a string, so you add up the different hex colors, and then you're able to set your hex color into the new color that you've created. Same thing for the simple color. Simple color does the whole. So you get your random number based on the length, and then you are able to select. When you get the random, you floor it. Then when you get that number, so you do colors and then the index. So it picks out any color from here, changes the background of your work. So that was what we did. That was what we did. I don't know if anybody has any question before we go into what we have today. I pray network is okay and not vexing with us. Okay, are we good? So the color flipper, we're done with that. So what we want to look at today, is we want to look at useRef. So we want to look at another what do they call it? Another React hook which you can use. So it's actually called useRef. So I'm just going to create a new page. I'm just calling it pages. So I'm just going to do a new file and I'll call useRef. Let's say basics. JSX. So I'm trying to keep things modular here. RAFC. Okay. So what I will be doing now is I will go to my app. I'm going to remove this. So since I do not need it anymore, and I will just do. Okay, so let's see this. Actually, this should be capital. I don't even know why I'm even doing this. Rename. Okay. Okay, so let's go back. Use useRef basics. Okay. So let's see, what do we have on our screen? Yeah, we just have useRef basics here. So what is useRef? useRef. Has anybody heard about it? Has anybody used it? What is useRef? Does anybody want to give it a shot? Anybody tried it out before? Okay. So useRef. Okay, somebody. Yeah. Okay, Barry. Yeah. Go.
Okay, let me give it a try because I know I actually just read a few things about useRef, but it's kind of I didn't really get it. But let me just give it a try. Okay, now where we have the whole DOM manipulation, then where you have
Yeah.
to you want to make some changes. The whole DOM manipulation. I think instead of that, we actually make use of useRef. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, that's like it's basically like more like I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm just saying what the way I understand it. Like it's like for React is like a replacement for the whole DOM manipulation.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you're actually right. So, well, useRef is, yeah, it helps in DOM manipulation. It's also, you can use it with forms too. Previously what we did, we're using states. So we're doing a controlled input. So instead of using an alternative for using controlled input would be to use useRef. You can use it for your inputs to get values from it. Alternatively, you can also use it for DOM manipulation. So what it does is that it creates a mutable object called a ref, which is usually attached to React elements. So, so that is like the basic. Yeah, that's the basic kind of definition. So you just use it to reference a node or an element on your page. So we're going to look at how we can use it, what we can do with it, and so on and so forth. All right. So, like I said, use useRef to target the DOM elements. Then it works a lot like useState. So what it basically does is it preserves the value. So you're able to get value from like your, what do they call it? Your inputs, you're able to get the value from it. But then the difference is that it does not trigger re-render. You know, when you do your use state causes a re-render of your page. But this one doesn't trigger a re-render. So, so that's useRef. So let's just go into applying it. So what we're just going to do a simple input field. So we'll just do a simple input field here. And I will just say input type of text. Let me just do a form. This form has, let me just do a div. Then I put this. Okay. Then I have my button too. Just say submit. Okay. Let's see what we even have. Hmm. What did I do? Use ref basics. I don't updating. Okay. Strange behavior. Okay, let me just close this and restart. Okay. Okay, so this is what we have. Weirdest. All right. So for us to use useRef here, for us to use useRef, so remember it's a hook. So you're getting it from React. Okay. So the same way, it has to be inside this function. So we want to pick value. We want to pick a value from this input. So I'm just going to say, we'll call ref. So you're referencing this element. And we actually need to create something here. So I'll just say const. You can call this in anything you want. So I'll just say ref container. useRef. Then you pass in a default value of null. So this ref container now, you are going to tie it to this element. So first of all, let's see. Let's see what's this console.log. Know how to spell log. Console.log ref container. What does it give us? So let's see. I'll open my terminal. Please don't mind my form. It's so fugly, I know. Don't judge me. Hmm. Hope I'm not having a rerun that issue here. That'll be so strange. So console.log ref here. Okay. Let me just try something out. It's console log not happening. Okay. Do not know why my app is doing like this. Uh, Let me rerun it again. I've actually done my up arrow. This is what happens. So remember that we said useRef creates a mutable object. So this ref container, sorry, I don't know what's network coming today. Okay, can you guys see my screen? Okay, so you guys can see my screen, right? Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, sorry, my network keeps kicking me out. Okay, so I console logged ref container and I am getting an object. So this object has like a couple of things. You see that it is targeting the input. See that there's a value there, value of, well, it's empty for now. And so it's referencing this particular element. So if, for instance, let's say I wanted to do something interesting, I could just say ref container dot current dot focus. So on initial render, I want this to have this focus. And I am actually having a bug here. So watch reload is actually not working, and I am not ready to do it. So let me just let this say apologies. So on reload, you see that this is actually focused. If I reload my page, see that this is focused and it's pointing at this. So what I am doing is I am actually targeting the elements that I want to display. I am getting, remember that this gives you an object. useRef gives you an object. That object contains this current. So current has to do with the particular element that you are specifying. So for you to use it, your ref has to be, you need to do like multiple refs if you have multiple inputs and you want to get their different values. So if you want to focus on a particular one, which is what I just did. So immediately my page loads, I'm saying, get this element, get the current. So the current is the input, and then add the focus class on it. So which is what I did here. I'm also console logging this here so we can see the value that it actually gives, or we can see what it actually gives us. So we have this current, which is targeting this. So you see when I hover on this, that it highlights. So I hover on this, it highlights. Then there's a value, which is empty. And then there are other stuff here, almost like, well, when you're playing with your document or get elements, stuff, all those things. So this is this as basic as it seems, as basic as anything. Now let's say for instance, let's go components, useRef basics. Okay. Very weird. So we want to use this. Remember we said we can use useRef instead of controlled input. Okay, so you know, depending when this comes up, actually acting. Okay. Yeah. So we have ref, we have the input. So it's, you see it selects the input element. So let's see what we want to do. So I'm just going to have an on submits. Where I'll just have handle submits. Which I have not yet created. So I'll just come back here on handle submits. Okay. Now remember this is a form, so I need to use my E. Can call this thing anything. So I'll just say E dot prevent. Oops. false. So I want to be able to get the value of this. So when I do this, so I am able, sorry. So hopefully I have a reload problem today. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let me just let me stop this. I don't know why hot reload is not working. Okay. So my page doesn't, yeah, it doesn't reload anymore. So I want to get this value. So what I will do is I will just say console.log ref container dot current. You need to get the current. Then you get the value. All right. So we have this, we have then the dot value. So let's see. So if I do this from here, so quite serious, huh? Mhm. Okay. So let me try now. So because there's no value inside here, so here it is actually empty. It actually creates this. So let me try putting something here and I click on submit. So you see I'm assessing the value of what is here. And if I check this, okay, so it doesn't show up here. Interesting. Okay, so you're able to get this value here. And I think with this value, so this gives you access to the current, then the value. And then you can use this to do whatever you want to do. Let's say, so let's see, just create, let me just create the states once people, okay, set people. Now be here, should be here. So let's updated people. I'll just spread people and then I will add just for 6. Okay, and then I will just set state. Okay, so while that is happening, let me just create another div, and I just want to map through. So let's do people map person. Okay, so let's see. Let's see how this works. Okay, cool. Wow. Okay, just bear with me. My app is apping. Okay, so I have this, but there's nothing showing up. Okay, so okay. Maybe is there something I'm not doing here? People, first. Sorry, I don't know why this is buggy. I have a div. Let me just confirm from my elements. Okay, why not doing this right? So I have people mapping. Okay, there's something I'm not doing right here. So let's see. I get this value, and let me even be certain. Let me be certain that yeah, someone can.
All right. I was thinking instead of before we map through, let's be sure that it's actually seeing the value. Like we can just have open a brace and then put the people for mapping through.
Okay, let's try that. for some very funny and weird reason. Okay. And it's not even seeing this other one. So why? Why is it not even seeing that? So let me just use, let me, okay. It's actually not seeing this. It's actually weird. So I'm just doing a bunch of div, seeing if this will have some sense. Okay, so I have people here showing up. Actually showing up now. I think the issue is I'm having this hot reload issue, so it's not. I need to like stop my server and start again before it picks up. And I do not know why that is happening. Okay, so I was supposed to return, I think. That was another problem. Did you return? Am I supposed to return? Yeah, I'm supposed to return. So I'm supposed to return a H4. I think that was what even. I don't know. So let me just put person here. I don't think I was returning the other time. That was another thing. So you need to pay attention when you're doing this thing. What do I want to do here? I want to put a key. Just use the index. All right, so let's try this guy. Just so that I take care of my mental health. Let me stop my server and just restart it. So please don't mind your own would work normally. This one is just acting up. So put this that one. So you can use this in place of, you can actually use this instead of having like your controlled input where you have to do value and so on and so forth. So you can use this. But the most common convention is just that this ref, it's not, a lot of people don't use it. People prefer just use your controlled inputs and you're all good and fine. So this is a likely situation that you can use. After doing this, you can decide to, yeah, so if I want to do that on multiple inputs, so let me just do set. So that means after doing this, I have to reset my ref container current dot value, then reset it to an empty string, set it to null, abi. Let's try that. God, help my life. This reloading is killing me. Okay, so let's try this out. So I do this, I do this. So that's a way to use it if you want to use it. So, but then if you want to do multiple, you just need to do this. I could just say name, just say instead of ref container, where is it? Yeah, I'll just duplicate this. So you're just having like multiple. Let me just say H container, and then you set it to this. So that means as I am getting this, so let me just do. So it's just a matter of you doing like multiple stuff. Let me stop my server. Seems like every time I make a change, I have to. I have these two things, and so if I click on submit, so you see, I get two values. So if you're using multiple inputs, you have to do multiple refs. Two refs, no, I cannot get this thing. So that's this thing. So I don't know, Malox, are you clear on that? This is how you can use multiple inputs here that way. Okay, so that is that. You can also do it on a div. You can also put your ref. Your ref is not just uh tied to just this. Let's say for instance, I was going to create, let me just create a div. I just say banana. Okay, so I just put a ref here. So I can just say div container. Okay. All right, so let's check it out. So we have this, and well, just for sakes, I click on submit. Oh, I didn't console log my div container here. I'll just do current. Let's change this to div. Okay, so let's go. What's now? Forgotten that I have to do this. Okay, so so you see, this gives you this div. So it gives you the div and then this element, the what do they call this? the contents inside it. So let's say I wanted to, I don't think I can get value here. Let me try this though. I don't know if that will work anyway. I don't know if that will work. Okay, so you can actually use it that way. You can use it for your DOM manipulation. You can use it like your document or get element by ID. Like you see, I've been able to change the color and it's showing red. Oh, Barry, go on.
All right, sorry. Sorry to take you back. I
Mhm.
actually missed the where you use the ref for that for the div banana island. I think you're a little
Yeah,
bit too fast.
okay. So what I did was I just gave a ref to the div, which is this div container, and I am setting the div container here to a null state. And then I'm updating it. Well, I got the current initially, which gave me the div. The same way that your document that gets element by ID will give you the div if you console log it. So when I got the current, I passed the style attribute and then I passed the color. So each time I click on this button for submit, it changes the color to a red color. Same way you do your document that get element by ID. That's why we have this red color here. So are you clear on that?
Okay, yeah. So you can actually have the um, functionality of a ref tied to one button.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is that. That is that for useRef. That for useRef. Uh, so like you saw, you don't need it does not re-render, does not cause an update. You just have it. After doing that, I had to reset it to an empty state. So that's just how that one works. That's how that one works. So any questions concerning this? I think that is all for useRef. Any question concerning this? So you choose your choose. Personally, I'll still go with controlled inputs. So, yeah, well, there could be other use cases for this one, but personally, I'll still go for controlled. Okay, so let's go over to the next book. Next book. So I'm just going to change my page. Yeah, yeah. So if you have multiple inputs, so far as it's for the same form, it's just this thing is we are doing a submit. The submit, it basically submits that form. So the input is part of that form. So far as the ref is there and all of that, you can click when you click on the button and it calls that function, automatically you can do anything with the ref inside that list. That's what happened. Okay, for useReducer, this is an interesting one. I say it is interesting because this is where your Redux came from, actually. This is where Redux came from. So those of us that have heard Redux. So useReducer came from Redux. I don't even know how much I can cover with this. So this is so use reducer. Let me just RAFCE. So I'm changing this. Okay. All right. So let's see here. Okay. Oh, I just need to apologize for my I don't know, my React. This thing is not updating as it should be. So I have used Reducer basics. So now what is use Reducer? Now this use Reducer is an alternative for your use states too. So what you use this one to do is you use it to manage more complex states. Use it for more complex states. Let's say, for instance, you're working on a team and you don't want to use, well, you don't want to use like, uh, you don't want to use states and all of that. So you want to use a more professional way of doing things. So you can use your use reducer. So use reducer brings in a couple of things. So you have actions, yeah, you have states. So we're just going to look at it in that light. So you can play around with it. So let's see how it goes. So you use it when you just want to do things in a more orderly kind of manner. So as your app gets bigger, you you might want to just use reducer instead of your states. You want more structure to your states. So you can just use that. So it's basically for when you're working on a team or when your app is big. So you can just do that. So let's see how we use it here. So I'm still going to import it from here, use reducer, and inside here, it still comes with the same destructuring pattern where you have to do a state, but instead of updating the states, you have to do, can you guys hear me? Okay, okay, so that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. All right, so, all right. So normally, so what this does is that this comes with two dispatch, and you now call your use reducer. So, interesting. Yeah, so there are a couple of things that we are supposed to pass inside this, but let me just take it a step at a time. Okay, so let's just create one component, one interesting component. So I'll just say new folder and I will just say modal. Inside this modal, I will just say, mm, I'll just do an index, yes, where I'll just do my RAFCE, And I will just call this modal. I think that will that not still work? Let's see. Okay. I am not getting that. All right, so let me just change this to something else. Modal. Right, so let's come back. Okay, so we are getting the modal now. Okay, so this modal, so let's do actually a lot. So let's just do, so what we would have done with our this thing, let's say name, set name, then we say use state. So I just want to bring, where's our home? Okay, so I'm removing this. I'll just bring on change. Going with one. We have the button of submit. I don't need Banana Island. Okay, so let me just const people, set people. An empty array. All right. On change, I just want to do this, and I want to do a set name, the target value. Okay, I need to pass E inside here. So I have this, and I need to bring in my handle submit. Oh man, I'm too lazy. All right. So inside here, and I am just going to update people, and I am updating people with what name, and I am just going to set my so set name, empty string, empty string, and empty string. Okay, well, okay, so let's see. Let's see. Stop this. Let's run. Okay, so I have my modal showing up there. All right, so let me just put something here. I get it, and it works. All right, but is my state not supposed to set name? Have I changed this in my app? Uh-huh. Okay, so what am I not doing right here? So set name is this set name. After I set people, I want to update this. Okay. I didn't put the value. So this should be name, right? Mhm. So that value is actually necessary. You see why it is necessary. Okay. So you see what happens there. All right, so we have that. So this is the normal way, and I actually want to do this. So the way I actually want to do this, I want to say, yeah. So I'm just going to use. I'm supposed to have another state. Cons modal. Okay, cons modal. Then set. Let me just do show modal. Show modal. Uh, and then we have set show modal. And by default, if I want to, I actually want to display this my modal conditionally. So I'll just say false. So that means I am just going to do show modal. So if that is true, show this one. So, okay. So that guy doesn't show up again. Yeah. So, so what I want to do now is I want to conditionally show this. So I'll say if name, so if name, so I want to set show modal. Can you guys still hear me? Let me be certain. True. Okay. So set show modal to true, and eventually, I can bring back these guys up here. Okay. Else set show modal. I still want to show true. So let's see. So so that's my modal showing up there. So when I do this, set show modal and so on and so forth. Okay, so let's go. Let's see what is happening here. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to actually manage our state here. So you want to manage the state for the modal showing up. You also want to manage the state for setting people and all of that. Now, instead of using use states like what we've been doing, what we've done so far here, what we've done so far. Now we can use what we call useReducer. Now, this useReducer is something that we have to set up. So just going to comment this and then go back to our useReducer. So this was the way we were using with states. So useReducer takes a couple of things. It takes a reducer function. So this is still almost like when you're using use states. So remember states, and then this is an action or a handler that works on this state. So useReducer, it takes the reducer and you now give it the default state. So default state. Okay, so it's crying out that it's not seeing all these things. So let's now go and create all these things. So I'll say cons reducer. Remember, we say reducer is a function, is what? We'll come back to that. So we've set that one. So this is what goes here. Then we now need to create our default state. So default state is still almost like, what we have with the state. So we'll say const default. I can spell default state. Okay, is an object. Okay, so we're just going to move things here. So we will move our people and its key value pair. So people will set it to an empty object. Okay. So we also have now you can put Banana Island, you can put any this but the common convention is to use dispatch. Use a dispatch name. So I'll just do is modal open, and this will be set to a default of false. Then you can have your modal contents. So these are just like my default states, which is probably, let's just do hello, hello world. Okay, so we have these guys. Interesting. Interesting. So we're going to replace like a couple of things. We'll replace a couple of things. We're just going to do, so remember we have this state here. We have dispatch here. So I want to fix up my code. There are a lot of things that are crying here. So I'm just going to say states. Show modal. This states picking up from here. Right. Is show modal rather. It is modal open. So it's when this one changes, that's when this will change. Okay, so okay. 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 So, sorry. So, so what am I doing here? I'm doing states.people. Hmm. Okay. 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 So, that's okay. So, hmm. So this should actually be states.people. Okay. Okay. So we still need the name and set name rather. Okay. Needed to confirm that. Uh, that name. We'll come to this set name. Okay. So, okay. So let's, okay. So we'll state the people and name. All right. So since we're fixing things and there are a couple of changes. So I have my button, which well should submit this function, and I've removed a couple of states. I still have this one for my inputs, so we're still using controlled inputs here. Now, so go back. Let's go back to let's go back and do this now. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to do, instead of doing, okay, I'm doing updated, let's updated people here. Okay. So I want to generate a random ID. So what I want to do is I want to store my new item first. I want to store my new item. And instead of doing what I am doing here, let me just call it new person instead of new people because I'm not using this. So I'll just say new item. Is let's not get confused. Don't worry, we are getting to that point. This is a different kind of approach. I just hope I'm taking it slowly. Okay, so the new item now, which is the name from our input. So I want to generate an ID for it, which, well, will be unique every time. New dates dot, so new dates, then I'll just say dot get time. So I'm just generating a random test. It's just for every instance, it's going to be different. So I'm doing new dates, the get time, and I am just changing it to a string. So instead of me using maybe the index and all of that to play around, I will just use this to generate my ID. So this is my ID, and then I'll now add the name. So what happens is I'll just console log new item. So let's see what happens when I do that. I do hope I need to, okay. So let me see what happens here. Okay, so you see, I'm not populating this, I'm not populating the page yet because there are still some other things that we need to do. But you see that I generated a random ID and I am also getting the name. So if I do again, this is a unique one. It's different from this other one. And then I have this. So you can use this for generating random IDs instead of using having to maybe hard code it and all of that. So all those things. So yeah. So the way this works now is you actually need to dispatch. You need to dispatch. You need to dispatch something here. So the way I will do this, so I will come here, this dispatch that is inside here. So what does dispatch do? So dispatch, whenever we play with dispatch here, it has to go through this reducer, and this reducer is going to take an action. Remember that we said dispatch is like an action. So it takes the action and then it gives us back the new state. So it takes the action and then it gives us back the new state. So let's just play around. Let's just play around for now. So I'm just going to say, so this actually is an object which has the type. So common convention is, let's just go straight. Common convention is string, you just say add, usually capital add item. Okay. So inside our reducer now, we'll now say if, so your reducer here, by the way, the reducer takes two things. So number one is the states, and the other one is uh Barry, I hope this is not the hard parts. Okay. So states, and then the other one is the action. So you're saying if action, because we are checking the action, if action the type. So action is actually coming from, where is it? So this, so you're saying if action the type is equals to add item, then you're supposed to return something. So you return. So first thing that you will return is you're going to return the states. Then, so this, remember that there's the default states, which we already put in. So you return the states. Then you're going to update whatever you want to update. So let's say people. And actually, I'm supposed to do that model. This model is equals to, you want it to be true. And then you want so modal content, I think that's the other thing. So it's more like you're recopying the states inside here. So it's modal content waiting to be added. Okay, so this is me just doing some funny things here. So ID is, I'm just playing around for now. I will show you what I'm trying to achieve here. So when you do this, you now do, what do they call it? So we want to add a name here. I'll just say Okon. Okay, so we're saying that we have this default state. We have the default states. So remember, whenever we want to use this reducer, we need to check the action type. We need to dispatch first. When you dispatch, you have to check for the action, and that action has to tie to a particular distance. If you want to add, if you want to delete, you need to specify what you're dispatching for. So that's the way that useReducer works. So you check the action type. If it matches what you're display, here we are dispatching a type of add item. So when you do that, you come here, you have to return the state. So if you don't do this, I want to do an else here. Else return new error. Let's say no matching type. Okay, so So let's see. So let's test out our function now. I just do this, click this, and our app is broken. Objects. So if you want to render a collection of children, okay, so our app is actually broken. So we've gotten into the crazy parts. Okay, so okay, so what is supposed to happen here is okay, so we're supposed to have now this is supposed to be an object. Okay, should be an object. Okay. Okay, so this should be an object like this. So let's go again. Let me just clear here and wow. Okay, so what am I not doing right? Find object with keys, ID, and name. Use an array instead. Okay. Wow, so what am I missing? Okay, so let me just state. What am I not doing right? Okay. Okay, now I am breaking things. Objects, found objects with keys. You meant to render a collection. Oh, okay. So let's go back. Map person. Okay. 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 So what I'm doing here is I have this person, and instead of this, I am supposed to do person dot name. I didn't change this here. So let's try it again. Okay. Please, are we confused? Before I will lose everybody. I think I've even lost most people. Do you have a question so far? Yeah, Chidubem, ask your question, please. Ask your question, please. Okay. So which part of it? Here?
Yes, there, this one.
Okay. This one? The reducer.
Yes, and this one.
I didn't get that.
Understand. The reducer
This what function? Yeah. Okay, so Remember I said the reducer function, this reducer function, it takes in two things. It takes the state, it takes the action. So what is happening is that you're communicating from your code. You're communicating from your code. Yeah. You can okay. So you're communicating from your code and telling this what to do. Now remember, we did this dispatch here. Now what this dispatch does is that this dispatch pushes, like it makes a phone call to this reducer and says, I am coming, I'm sending somebody over. Now this reducer, remember, it takes a state and an action. So when it comes here, it now says, okay, something was dispatched. Okay. Yeah, sorry. All right. Is it better now? Okay. Hope it's not still blocking. Okay. So this tells when this dispatch makes that phone call or sends that person over. Now it now says, okay, if the action that was sent to me, if the action is add item, return this state. Else, if it's not, return this state. So what this does is that you have your states, which is returned. You need to always return your states. So your state is this state here. So your state is this state here. So if this state, if the state here, yeah, you copy back the state inside here. Remember, is an object. This is also an object. So copy back the state inside here and update the necessary ones that you want to update. Remember, our people is an empty array. So what am I doing? I am spreading state.people, which is going to be an empty state. And then I'm updating it with this value. So spread out state.people, which is empty here. So this is your state. Remember, you gave it a default state. So states, so the default state, which is an empty array. So you flatten it, and then you now add this other one along with it. So it now gives us a single item inside here. Now my is modal, remember the modal is what do they call it? So the modal is empty, is false. It does not show up for now. But because you've set this to true, so you're supposed to bring the modal. Then the modal content was what? Hello world initially. So you're changing the modal content to waiting to add, waiting to be added rather. So this is just bringing back your states. And we're actually supposed to see how this is supposed to work. So what I'm going to do now is I just want to pass in some states here. And the state I'm going to pass here is modal open is equals to states dot is modal open. And the other one is close modal. Let me okay. Okay, so the other one is close modal. I just want to be sure. Okay, close modal. Okay, not even close modal. So the other one is just modal content. Here's the modal content I need. So the modal the modal content is what states dot modal content. Okay. So don't worry, will soon stop so that people will be able to grasp what is here. I'm actually not going to do a whole lot. I'll just do one state and then we'll just see what is happening. So just bear with me. So this modal, remember we said it's taking two things. So one of it is what? Modal content. And this should be our modal content. And then the other one is the other one is what do they call it? What was the other state? Okay, it's modal open. Okay, so we just need modal contents here. I hope this prop validation will allow us to pass. Okay, so let's go back. So let's go back. I do this. I do. So you see, the modal shows up as true. Yeah, the modal shows up as true. The content is now passed inside here. So you see, waiting to be added is added from this other distance. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm going to useRef. I'm moving all around. Okay, so we have this state that is modal. So this is what controls whether it shows or it does not show. We also have this modal. The modal shows, the modal takes props, is modal open, and what do they call it? And which is what? Which is state dot is modal open. And then we have the modal content, which is what? Which is passed inside. Like this is not even doing anything inside here. So it's just taking just the modal content. Just that the other one is just to control this state. And what is happening? Let me just go over this again so that we are not so confused. That we are not so confused. We have this dispatch. Remember, I said this works with dispatch. So you need to dispatch. When you dispatch, you have to send something along with it. You have to send a type. Now, this type passes this add item. So this add item comes here inside your reducer function, which has two parameters, state and action. So you're now checking the action type. So if action.type is equals to add item, return this state, return this object. Now the object is what? Is flattening out the state, which is a copy of this. And now you're saying for people now, you want to add an item. Remember, we are trying to add an item. So you're saying flatten out the state.people, which is what? An empty array, and then add this particular one. So I'm just hard coding this. Normally, I should have sent something along. I should have sent a payload along with this. But I want us to understand first before I start doing that so that we are not so confused. So when I do this, I also want to open the modal to show it this modal content. So this could have been item added, but I'm just because I'm not yet adding the item, that's why I'm saying waiting to be added. So this modal shows up. So the modal state, which is, remember I'm using state here. So state is coming from the default value. So this thing is the default value. So is modal open is false initially. But when we click and dispatch, it comes here and then its modal open changes to true, which makes it to be able to show that particular one. And then when we click on this state, this item is added, the modal shows this, and then the content shows this. But the issue is this modal content is taking modal.state.content. So which is why if I reload this and I add and I click on submit, it now shows us waiting to be added. I don't know if we have questions. Does anybody have questions? I think that's just where I'm going to pause. When we come in the next class, we'll just focus on useReducer. Does anybody have questions concerning this? Barry, is this the hard side? Have we gotten to that part?
We are just starting.
But actually, this is not so difficult as it feels or is looking like. It actually makes your code kind of more defined. You're just returning states. It actually makes your code more defined. So I don't want us to get more confused than we already are. So, but I just need us to understand that we are dispatching, and you have to pass a type along with it. For some of them, like this add-on, we are supposed to pass along a payload with it. So is that payload now that it will use to update the people array? But I don't want us to get confused. That's why I'm taking it a step at a time. A step at a time. When we dispatch, we have to come back to the state. You need to always and always return your states because that is where you're getting back the copy of this default state. Always return your states. Then when you do that, you now update the distance that you want to update, the properties that you want to update. So I want to update this. I'm adding a person. That's why I'm updating these people here. So I'm flattening out the states that people, I am adding this particular item. So that updates the people. Now, after doing that, I want this model to show. That's why I changed it from false here to true. Remember, this one changed people. So people change from an empty array, and then I'm adding this particular one. And then modal content. So modal content moves from here. So from hello world, you're now changing it to waiting to be added. So that's just the flow of, that's just how things flow here. So you always return a state. You always return a state. But if I make mistake in the name of this my function, what do you think will happen? If I try, let me reload this. If I click on this button, what do you think will happen? Random guess. What do you think will happen?
It may not return anything.
Okay, so let's see. Yeah, so it's not returning anything because it doesn't even know what that function is. Normally, in some way, this is actually supposed to kind of tell you that you're not doing something right. So but then, like you see, it does not return anything because it does not correspond to any action. This is IT. Checks. Does it match any of them specified here? So because it doesn't match, so it just leaves that one like that. So I don't want us to get more confused than we are. So what we are going to do in the next class, we're going to just focus on useReducer. We're going to focus on useReducer and try to understand it properly. So I don't know if anybody has any question. Okay. No question. Okay, so yeah, so in the absence of that, I think we'll just take a break for now. We'll meet again on Wednesday and we'll talk about this properly. All right. Right. So yeah, let's have a great day. David, you will help me. Are you there? Hello, David.
Yeah, okay, I'm here. Sorry, I didn't hear you.
Okay.
I didn't get the last thing you said.
Yeah, I'm saying you help me out. You're the host, so you help me to do the honors of ending the class. So all right, guys, take care.
All right. Bye, guys.
All right.